Hello and welcome to the track guide at Monza. We are at a wet track for this week. We have close to flooded conditions and it's pretty much the most drivable rain in a race, so we're definitely gonna have an interesting one this week. We are in the Aston Martin and I think it was something around 20 degrees, but that doesn't matter anyway, given the amount of rain. Obviously, wet tires are needed, so you can also lower your ABS, lower your braking balance, and maybe if you want to higher your traction control, that can be beneficial, just as a general piece of advice before getting into the track guide itself. So, starting off at this track, which can be quite boring to drive, we are headed towards turn 1, which is a heavy braking zone, trying to not swim away in the puddles here, and then we get into the braking zone. We try to brake at around 180 meters, I would say. Try to floor it as much as possible without locking it up. Try to avoid the inside curb. I slightly touched it, like that was highly gentle here. That was a little dent there, but that was fine, I would want to say. And then you try to sling it around here, use that inside curb for rotation, are on the throttle already when going out. I didn't drive TC off, I didn't want to because it is really wet and Aston is quite tricky in the rain with TC off, especially at a track with big acceleration zones out of slow and quite sharp turns. So therefore I can attack the throttle quite aggressively here, but you need to do that as you wish with your traction control settings chosen for yourself and your car especially. So quite aggressive onto the throttle and out. You can use that curb on the outside a little bit if you want to get your rear rotating with the Aston, for example. Like it sucks out of slow corners because there's not a lot of power in low RPM divisions, so I would say you can quickly get on there, make the tires spin around, like create wheel spin artificially, and therefore get the RPM up. But that's more like advanced knowledge that is not needed for a good lap time in any sort. That one is quite self-explanatory. Just send it. Whilst we are approaching the next turn, which is a sharp braking zone once again, we brake at around 150. Try to brake as much as possible without locking it up. Get to the right here, not on the curb, it is slippery, be careful. Get here onto the left, don't hit the sausage here too, like we try to avoid it as well as possible. That was quite close, but still didn't hit it. Like, quite on the edge of what's possible. Try to then get onto the throttle before going here. You can go over that if you want to. That's no hurt, no harm, no pain whatsoever. So you try to steer after releasing the brake and then throttle. Don't leave the throttle and try to stabilize the steering as early as possible. The next thing is that you want to brake around where the 100 meter board is away from your car, pretty much like 20-30 meters behind the 100 meter board. You want to start braking, like in the middle of the two orange things, the orange ends of the barrier. You want to start braking. Third gear is fine. second would likely unsettle the rear in most cars. Not in the Ferrari probably, but that car is unspinnable anyway. Hit the throttle again without going too far into the gravel, like just send it outwards and there you go. Like, it's not too complicated. The track itself, like Monza, is not too complicated at all. Here we brake a bit before 50, like you can probably use somewhere around this line as a reference point. If we want to go like this, I think we go to around where you could go down to second gear for this one. Yes, and then slice over that curb. I would not want to fully go over this. In the dry it's a bit more fine in most cars, but in the wet it is very slippery. Which is not the case with that curb, because that is AstroTurf and that is not as slippery. It's like road pretty much. So we can fully send it out here. For this one, into Ascari, we brake a bit before the bridge begins. Steer a bit after the curb begins. So you see, here's the curb and here's the steering. At around 50 you start to steer. You want to take a bit of that curb on the inside. Not take too much of this because it will unsettle the rear, and then send it over the exit of Ascari again. So brake, steer, cut over the curb, don't cut it too much, and full throttle over it, onto it, and off you go. That is a long straight, in which end we brake a bit before that things you can use as marker, like between 100 meter board and the 200 meter board, in the middle around, a bit closer to 100, down to second gear. You can use third, I think, that's no problem. And then you try to hit the throttle as soon as possible. You have gathered the grip on the rear, so that you can just send it out here onto the start-finish straight. And that was a lap around a very wet Monza, 156.440.